Hello everyone, welcome to the March 12th, 2017 edition of the Astrology News Report, presented by your intrepid host, Ron Berger. In this segment, we'll take a look at the upcoming planetary patterns and predictions, what's happening in the sidereal zodiac for March 12th to March 26th and beyond. Mercury is now in Pisces, its sign of debilitation. Mercury is debilitated in Pisces because the planet of rational thinking doesn't do so well in a water sign based in the emotions. Pisces is the sign of hope. So, Mercury in this sign is not so good for linear reasoning, but still useful for intuitive thinking, for imaginative thinking. Pisces is a sign ruled by Jupiter. While it is in Pisces, Mercury forms a Parivartana Yoga with Jupiter, which is transiting in Mercury's sign Virgo. Simultaneously, the two planets are opposite each other, that is, in mutual aspect. Thus, the planet of rational thinking, which is not so rational in Pisces, is exchanging energy with the planet of beliefs and ideology, which itself is retrograde, going backwards in the sign of details and analysis. The result of this interaction is that ideas and reasons are being influenced by and subjected to the energy of beliefs. So, we get explanations, but the objectivity of facts-based Mercury is being compromised by Jupiter's self-serving ideology. Of course, this will be playing out on the world stage, manifesting as more of that alternative facts syndrome. Now, while this is going on, the Uranus opposite retrograde Jupiter pattern, which started over a month ago, is still active and producing effects. Uranus is the planet of sudden events, which includes sudden realization. Jupiter is the planet of truth, and when it is retrograde, that means going back over the past to find the truth. Note that Jupiter is retrograde in Virgo, the sign of details and analysis. And so we get realizations of the truth coming from analyzing the details of the past. Sounds like a bonanza for the investigators. And then, next week, things get even more intense as Mercury, planet of the media, moves to the end of Pisces. It will come into exact conjunction with Uranus, planet of sudden unexpected events, and simultaneously both exactly opposite Jupiter, planet of truth and beliefs. So, we can expect something like unexpected news reports, bringing with them a new level of realizations and potential conflict with ideology, setting up conditions for another POTUS tweet storm. The good news, if it is that Mercury will be in this astrological pattern only until March 26th, when it then moves on in the zodiac, leaving Pisces and entering Aries. But there's another part to this picture. Making things a bit more complicated for Mercury and Jupiter is the presence of retrograde Venus, which is tracking backwards in Pisces. Mercury has to interact with retrograde Venus. The two planets are now, in fact, on a collision course. The exact conjunction will be at the end of this week on March 18th. Generally, Mercury conjunct Venus is not a bad thing. Since Mercury is the planet of news and Venus is the planet of pleasures, we can get some pleasant news. But While it is retrograde, Venus significations are not operating normally. Mercury, already compromised by being in its debilitation sign, has to combine its energy with that of retrograde Venus. Putting the two together, we have Mercury, the planet of facts and data, in Pisces, a sign based in the emotions, mixing it up with Venus, the planet of value, which by being retrograde is backwards and therefore putting value in doubt, giving rise to the perennial question, so what's it going to cost me? For one example of this, the Republicans' health care plan proposal is now before Congress. Astrologically speaking, this is not a favorable time for dealing with a bill so obviously connected to values and finances. Meanwhile, while all this is happening in Pisces, the action planet Mars is strong in its own sign Aries, and that is good for taking action, for moving forward. But Mars is naturally hasty and impatient for results, even more so in the proactive sign Aries, the sign that likes a fast payoff. But Venus, the planet of compromise and agreement, is retrograde, which makes compromise and agreement difficult to achieve. Mars, on the other hand, doesn't care much for compromise. Mars is the planet of force. So, due to the contradictions manifested by these two planetary patterns, anybody or anything that requires finding common ground in order to move forward, well, this is not a good time for that. Better to wait a few weeks, at least until Venus goes back to normal forward motion on April 15th. Oh, except by that time, Mercury will be retrograde. Oh well, let's just say that planetary patterns are a bit dodgy for the next several weeks. And now, once again, my little pitch for donations. If you appreciate what this YouTube channel does for you, please help keep it going by visiting the donation page and making a contribution. Thanks, and until next week.